CBS Thursday.
Another mild day is ahead of us for tomorrow. Temperatures 60s closer to Lake Superior, 70s inland. Snow melt still going to be a problem. Those details next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, Michigan lawmakers seek to make clean air and water a constitutional right in Michigan. We'll have the details. Plus, toxic chemicals in your water and on your farmland. Legislators also say it's time for action when it comes to forever chemicals. And Iran seizes 2 ships in the Strait of Hormuz as tensions continue with the ceasefire with the U.S. still in effect. We'll have the latest. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Temperatures today was pretty nice. We managed the 60s across much of the Upper Peninsula, with the exception of the southern half of the UP getting into the 70s. A pretty calm night tonight. Temperatures 40s closer to Lake Superior, 50s southward. Another warm day tomorrow, and this is going to lead to more snow melt and ice jam flooding. So this is something we're watching very carefully as we head into the next couple of days. Again, temperatures all over the board, 60s and 70s. We'll break it all down coming up in just a few minutes.
Dakota, thank you very much. Michigan lawmakers are pushing to add environmental rights to the state constitution. The proposed Green Amendment would guarantee clean air, water, and a stable climate as fundamental rights. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent Sophia Murphy explains what that could mean.
For Earth Day, lawmakers are pushing to make environmental protection a constitutional guarantee, not just policy.
We were taught in kindergarten that if you make a mess, you're supposed to clean it up. The current legal framework in Michigan allows you to make a mess and not clean it up.
The amendment would enshrine the right to clean air, safe water, and a healthy environment, putting those protections on par with rights like free speech. Supporters argue current laws don't go far enough, especially in communities hit hardest by pollution.
You cannot breathe these toxins separately. You breathe them all together, and we must protect our communities.
Backers say the amendment would also force the state to consider building pollution impacts, not just one chemical at a time. And it would require government to act as a trustee of natural resources for future generations.
We're giving the people of Michigan a meaningful seat at the decision-making table.
The proposal would also give residents more power to challenge government decisions before environmental damage happens.
Clean air, clean water, and a livable climate are not privileges. They're rights that every person deserves, and it needs to be in our Constitution, regardless of zip code or income.
Lawmakers would need a 2/3 vote in the House and Senate to put the amendment on the ballot. If approved, voters would have the final say. From Michigan's capital, Sophia Murphy, WZMQ 19 News.
Michigan House Democrats are rolling out a new package of bills targeting forever chemicals, also known as PFAS. The legislation would ban certain chemicals in consumer products, require more transparency when contamination is found, and allow residents to take legal action against companies. It also includes grants for farmers to help clean up contaminated land, cover testing costs, and offset lost income. Lawmakers say there are now more than 300 confirmed PFAS sites across the state, impacting drinking water, farmland, and public health in nearly every county.
Families deserve timely notice, clear information, and support when contamination exceeds federal safety standards.
Lawmakers say they hope to advance the package this year, but admit it could carry over into the next legislative session. Tensions remain high in the Strait of Hormuz as the Iranian regime seized 2 container ships today in retaliation for the U.S.'s ongoing blockade. This comes as the White House says there is no defined end date for the current ceasefire. Jesse Mitchell has more.
As the war with Iran approaches the 8-week mark, the White House confirms President Trump has extended the ceasefire indefinitely.
Ultimately, he will dictate the timetable. And again, he is satisfied with the naval blockade, and he understands that Iran is in a very weak position, and the cards are in President Trump's hands right now.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. continues to hold the upper hand in the conflict.
We are completely strangling their economy through this blockade. They're losing $500 million a day.
On Wednesday, the Iranian regime seized a pair of container ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran says the attacks were retaliation for the U.S. blockade and seizure of Iranian vessels this week. A member of Iran's parliament called it an eye for an eye, a tanker for a tanker. On Capitol Hill, reactions to the extension of the ceasefire were mixed.
I'm not surprised at it. This president has a tendency of threatening to rain down terror on countries that don't see things his way, and at the last minute he relents. I think you lose a lot of credibility once you've done that a number of times.
I hope that we can draw this conflict to a close. I know the president's working on that. That's what I took from his decision to extend the ceasefire. He wants to conclude this on terms favorable, maximally favorable to our national security, and that's good. So I hope it can be concluded soon.
3 U.S. officials tell CBS News about half of Iran's stockpile of ballistic missiles and launch systems are still intact, though the White House says the U.S. has set back the regime's military capabilities by years.
There have now been 400 service members injured during Operation Epic Fury, according to new casualty numbers released today in the Defense Casualty Analyst System. A new report out this Earth Day finds that nearly half of all children in the U.S. are breathing unhealthy air. The American Lung Association's State of the Air report finds 33.5 million kids live in counties that received a failing grade for at least one measure of air pollution. Worldwide air pollution is the #2 leading cause of death in children and puts them at higher risk of low birth weight, asthma, and lung diseases. Overall, the American Lung Association finds 156 million Americans are living in places with unhealthy amounts of ozone or particle pollution. That's more than any time in the past 10 years.
Children are more vulnerable to the effects of being exposed to air pollution, whether ozone or particle pollution, because their lungs are still developing, they're still maturing, and they're breathing in more air per breath for their body weight, which means if they're exposed to air pollution, they're breathing in higher rates of pollution, and that can have real impacts on their long-term health and immediately.
On the other end of the air quality spectrum, Bangor, Maine is the only city that ranks high on all 3 of the report's cleanest cities lists. To find out where your area ranks, head to the American Lung Association's website. Parts of the southeastern U.S. are battling wildfires that have destroyed dozens of homes in Georgia. A wildfire forced the evacuation of some schools in southern Georgia. This footage was taken from aboard a school bus leaving a local elementary school. Officials say the fire has been growing rapidly.
Obviously, this fire became a lot larger than we thought it would be on Monday. We went from 700 acres yesterday morning at about 10 o'clock to almost 5,000 by 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
We're asking the public to pay attention, be prepared. 1, 2, 3. Hey, I've got everything ready. I've got fuel in the vehicle, and I'm simply grabbing my go bag, what's important to me, my pet, and I'm moving out. We have shelters available.
Florida officials say the state faces one of the worst fire seasons in decades. Drought, dry air, and strong winds in the region are factors. The National Weather Service says a high risk of fire is expected to last through Friday. OpenAI and its ChatGPT product are under criminal investigation after a deadly shooting last year at Florida State University. Prosecutors are asking if the chatbot crossed a line by helping plan the attack. Jolene Kent reports.
Surveillance video from Florida State University shows the suspect pursuing victims with a gun in hand as they fled. 2 people were killed in last year's shooting. Phoenix Eichner remains behind bars awaiting trial, but Florida prosecutors are now targeting an alleged accomplice, ChatGPT.
Technology AI is supposed to help and support mankind, not lead to its demise.
The state's Attorney General, James Uthmeier, announced a criminal investigation into OpenAI this month, arguing that the AI chatbot offered, quote, significant advice days and hours before the first shots were fired.
If this were a person on the other end of the screen, we would be charging them with murder.
State officials released exchanges that show the suspect asking how the country might react to a shooting at his school, where he could find the most students, and how to handle guns and ammo. OpenAI says its ChatGPT is not responsible for last year's mass shooting, adding that it provided factual responses to questions that could be found online and did not encourage or promote illegal or harmful activity. CBS News legal contributor Caroline Polisi.
You used to type into Google to get information on a sort of fact-by-fact basis. Is that different than engaging in a back-and-forth conversation with a chatbot? It's no secret that these chatbots make mistakes, right? There are disclaimers all over them. But the question is, what was the potential extent of the harm? And did they move forward getting that technology on the market in reckless disregard of the potential harms?
Dakota Hunter has your first warning weather forecast when we come back. Plus, Michigan is setting a new recycling rate record. We'll have the details. And later, a fundraiser in Marquette is showing how the evolution of women's rights in the nation have influenced swimwear. We'll be right back after this.
19 News is brought to you by Kirkish Furniture.
As governor, my mega audits will identify billions in waste and fraud to finally bring Michigan property tax reform and eliminate the state income tax. 4747. Our mega audits will bring sunlight back to Michigan.
Buckle's Party Store, it's where the party starts in Calumet with an awesome beer selection featuring domestic, foreign, and craft brew beer, a great selection of wine, just about any kind of liquor you want, and a great range of tobacco products. Buckle's Party Store in Calumet, it's where the party starts for everyone.
It's Earth Month in the Upper Peninsula. Small actions make a big impact. Recycle 906 accepts cans, cardboard, plastics, and more, helping keep the UP clean and thriving. This Earth Month, recycle smarter. See what we accept at recycle906.com.
Ready for more fun? The Michigan Lottery has doubled the number of cash pop drawings. Just match one number. Yep, just one. From 1 to 15. If your number drops, you can win up to $5,000. That's cash pop from the Michigan Lottery.
Amazon offers hourly employees health care for $5 a week with $5 copays.
Safety.
Should I go, Mom?
No, don't tell your mother anything.
Amazon offers hourly employees health care on day one for the whole family.
Watch 19 News and Weather on YouTube. Just search and subscribe. WZMQ 19 News is always available for streaming 24/7, and it's free.
As governor, my mega audits will identify billions in waste and fraud to finally bring Michigan property tax reform and eliminate the state income tax. 4747. Our mega audits will bring sunlight back to Michigan.
Now from the 19 News Forecast Center, this is WZMQ 19 First Warning Weather with Dakota Hunter.
Welcome back, everybody. Today's high 64. That'll, of course, here into Marquette. But if you live across, say, Iron River, Escanaba, yeah, you were in the 70s today, and it's going to be a repeat of that tomorrow. And this is the reason why we still have this flood watch in effect for basically the central and western half of the Upper Peninsula. And this is for the snow and ice melt. Again, we're really warming up, and this is often the case this time of the year, especially we had a big snow season. So now that snow is starting to melt, and the ice on the local streams and creeks and rivers is starting to melt as well, leading to potential ice jam flooding. This flood watch goes all the way through Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And we are going to have some rain Friday into Saturday, but I'm really not too concerned about that at this point. Most of the flooding should hopefully occur tonight and tomorrow, but we'll obviously watch it very carefully as we head through the weekend here. But through the rest of tonight, pretty quiet, a mix of clouds and clearing skies. There is some rain. You see it here over Lake Superior. It should stay over Canada. I don't see it sagging into our area, so I'm keeping the rain out of the forecast for tonight. And even into tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds across the Upper Peninsula. Maybe Marquette, Iron River out here towards Houghton possibly could see a little bit more in the way of sunshine. But again, there's going to be be more clouds kind of mixing in than what we had today. But then here comes our rain producer as we head into late Friday morning and into the afternoon. Notice it's going to be steady state for at least a period of time through the afternoon on Friday. And even though the rain at this point doesn't look very heavy, remember, any rain is going to lead to extra flooding problems. So if you have the sump pumps, make sure they're working. Obviously, you know the deal here with this. But the temperatures don't help that too much. When you're dealing with temperatures into the 60s and 70s, that, of course, is just rapid snow and ice melt. So again, when it comes to ice jam flooding, that's basically just ice chunks that break apart. Those large chunks, they flow downstream, and then they get wedged in a narrow pathway, and then water rises, and then ultimately you have a problem. So we're going to watch it very carefully through the next 48 hours. Lows tonight, though, into the mid-40s, closer to Lake Superior, likely some mid to upper 50s southward as we head into tonight. So for tomorrow, about a 66 here in the Marquette. That's the Marquette high. Some of you southward into the 70s. 52 on Friday with afternoon scattered showers. The rain should start to end as we head towards later in the day on Saturday. Sunday looking pretty nice, a mix of sun and clouds. Then as we head towards next week, temperatures start cooling down. We're into the 40s with a few early showers on Monday, Tuesday. Then we're mainly dry as we head towards Wednesday.
Dakota, thank you again. Recycling habits are changing across Michigan, and state leaders say people are recycling now more than ever. Hannah McElry explains what's driving the difference.
On Earth Day, Michigan leaders gathered here at the DNR Outdoor Adventure Center, highlighting an environmental milestone. The state's recycling rate hit an all-time high for the 5th year in a row. New numbers from the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy show Michiganders are recycling more each year. Still, for some residents, recycling takes extra effort. Samara Prywis lives downtown, and even though her apartment building doesn't offer recycling, she says it's still a priority.
So we just moved in recently, and so we've been separating all of our recycling, and we're going to plan to drop it off at our recycling center, but the hours aren't that good.
According to Eagle, Michiganders recycled more than 800,000 tons of material last year, continuing a steady increase statewide. The combined total of recyclables equals the weight of 10 Mackinac bridges and would fill the football stadiums of the Detroit Lions, University of Michigan, and Michigan State University, plus the 125-acre Detroit Zoo.
We started measuring how much we were recycling right around 2019, and at that time, our recycling rate was about 14%. And this year, we just hit the achievement of 26% of all the material that we generate in Michigan, we are recycling, and that's a really great accomplishment.
Tracy Kescometti, Eagle's Director of Materials Management Division, says education efforts and expanded access to curbside recycling are key reasons behind the steady increase. The state's goal now is to keep building on that and reach a 30% recycling rate by the end of the decade.
Still to come on your 19 News, we'll show you more of the new greenhouse in Ishpeming that's expected to teach students in the area a little about horticulture. We're back in 2 minutes.
At the MicroWorks Foundation, we help people get the training they need to land an AI-proof six-figure job. Here in Michigan, that means plumbers, electricians, welders, pipe fitters, mechanics, linemen, HVAC techs, and so many other high-paying opportunities that don't require a four-year degree. We've set aside millions of dollars to help train people who want to learn a skill that's in demand. If that sounds like you, apply today for a work ethic scholarship at microworks.org.
If you've been injured in an accident, do not settle for less. Call the Sentinel Group now. Our lawyers specialize in injury cases and help clients recover the best settlements. If you sustained injuries from a slip and fall, auto collision, bicycle collision, dog bite, workplace injury, or any other accident through no fault of your own, call the Sentinel Group now. The consultation is free.
Call 800-510-4378. 800-510-4378.
Thursday.
I used to be a bartender for like 15 years.
I did know. The many sides of Coleman.
She was like, is it okay if we put you in drag? I said, put me in all the drag.
Plus the Pitch Patrick Ball and R&B star Ari Lennox. Next, Kelly. This is called Photo Dump. Photo Dump. What?
is a nasty band.
The Kelly Clarkson Show, tomorrow at 5 on WZMQ CBS.
Homes are like family. They keep us together. A Dan Perkins metal roof is a long-term investment that will preserve the space you value most. Each roof is customized to your home's needs, with panels and components crafted in-house and on-site for exceptional quality and performance. Built to last, it keeps your property safe, secure, and comfortable through every stage of life. While much may change, a Dan Perkins roof endures. Stay confident through life's uncertainties with a roof from Dan Perkins Construction.
You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local, with Kevin Hodge.
Welcome back, everyone. What do bathing suits have to do with women's right to vote? Well, quite a bit, according to a unique fundraiser today at the Marquette Regional History Center. Carrie Moon Dupree of the League of Women Voters of Michigan presented a collection of vintage to modern swimwear, highlighting how style has reflected the evolution of women's rights in the U.S. From Victorian-era full-length swimming gowns to the modern bikini, the presentation looks at parallels between the size of a swimsuit and the amount of rights gained by women.
I used the history of women's bathing suits and what was happening sociologically, politically during each era when women got the right to vote, who decided what they could wear. If I had said I was doing a program on that, nobody would come.
Members of the NMU women's swim team showed off the collection, while head coach Heidi Voigt showcased how competitive swimwear has changed as women's participation in sports has grown. A new hands-on learning space is now growing opportunities for students in Ishpeming. Ishpeming Public Schools opened its new greenhouse today, and as our own John Truitt explains, it opens up a whole new world of gardening opportunities.
The Ishpeming Public School District celebrated the opening of its new CTE greenhouse with a ribbon cutting today at the Partridge Creek Ishpeming Middle School garden on Cleveland Avenue. The addition of a greenhouse allows for a much longer growing season and a wider variety of crops to harvest.
With erecting this greenhouse this year, it's been a long time coming. Trying to grow vegetables in the UP gets a lot easier once you have season extending tools like greenhouses to help you through the coldest months of the year.
CTE horticulture instructor Keats Dormont, whose classes tend the garden, has some pretty specific plans.
Can we have a lime tree? Can we have an avocado tree? Can we grow some tomatoes around it, some onions, and then chop it all up and eat some guacamole?
Dormont teaches his students about our place in the ecosystem and what crops are best suited for our climate.
We are intrinsically part of this ecosystem, and finding our way back to right relationship with that ecosystem just benefits everything.
The middle school students who work the small farm are learning far more than just how to plant a seed.
He teaches us about what is inside of the soil for the plants and what plants need to survive.
The greenhouse was funded through a state grant and will support applied horticulture classes, helping students grow food for their school cafeteria while learning about soil health and sustainability. In Ishpeming, John Truitt, WZMQ 19 News.
This Saturday, Celebrate Trails Day will be recognized across the nation. At a local level, the Iron Ore Heritage Trail joins in the celebration each fourth Saturday in April and is encouraging its community to take part. While the celebration is a great opportunity to get outside and utilize these paths, IOHT is making sure to also ask for support that doesn't necessarily include using the trails this weekend.
But it's really a day of awareness, and then also we encourage people to have advocacy on the trails. This is a really important year on a federal level. The National Transportation Bill is being reassembled, so we really encourage people to reach out to their representatives at the federal and state level to encourage continued funding of motorized and non-motorized trails.
We'll have more information on how to get involved with the Trail Network on WZMQ19.com. April is Financial Literacy Month, a reminder to get in the practice of smarter money habits, from saving more to managing debt. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger breaks down one key concept that can make a big difference.
It's Financial Literacy Month, and to celebrate, let's tackle one of the most important concepts when it comes to planning: compound interest. Here's how it works. When you save or invest money, you earn interest not just on what you put in, but also on the interest your money earns over time. Here's an example. If you deposit $100 into an account earning 5% a year, you'll have $105 after the first year. But here's where it gets interesting. If you leave that money in place, the next year you earn interest on the full $105, not that original $100. That's compound interest, and over time, those gains start to snowball. After 2 years, the $100 grows to $110.25, and it keeps building from there. The real secret: time. The earlier you start, the more powerful compounding becomes. A 25-year-old who saves $100 a month, earning 5% interest, could end up with more than $145,000 by age 65. But if you put off saving just by 10 years and start at age 35, that total drops to about $80,000, and that's the cost of waiting. And remember, compounding works both ways. While it can grow your savings, it can also grow your debt as interest builds against you. So whether you're saving or borrowing, time and interest can have a big impact.
Stars of the upcoming film Animal Farm hit the red carpet to talk about the George Orwell classic turned animated movie. And Top Gun is back on the big screen. The Gwen Bumgarner has tonight's entertainment headlines.
Decades on, the catchphrase is still cool as ever. It's been 40 years since Top Gun soared to screens. To celebrate the milestone, select theaters are bringing both Top Gun and the 2022 sequel, Top Gun Maverick, back to the big screen. The return is for 1 week only, beginning May 13th. Beck is back. The 8-time Grammy winner is out with this new single titled Ride Lonesome. Fans can also hit the road to see Beck on tour. He just announced the Ride Lonesome tour, which kicks off in September. Presale tickets are available now. A George Orwell classic is getting animated and headed to the big screen.
What does that say?
It says, Laughter House.
That sounds awesome. I love to laugh.
It's a slaughterhouse.
Animal Farm, a cautionary tale, follows one farm's descent into a dictatorship, prompting a barnhouse brawl against themes of communism. We spoke with stars on the red carpet promoting the upcoming film.
It seems to me that we need to really think about how we want to see the truth in the future, and particularly for kids, that they want to see how they see the truth, and that's what the movie is really about. It's about opening up a discussion between them and their parents and their grandparents, who may have all read the book. The parents anyway would have read the book at a different time in the history of the world.
Animal Farm heads to theaters May 1st.
Now, don't go anywhere. When we come back, Dakota Hunter will have our final look at weather. Stay tuned.
Shop hundreds of lazy boys at Kirkish Furniture in Houghton. Kick back in comfort in an industry-leading recliner. Choose from all fabrics, colors, and sizes with prices starting as low as $4.99 plus free delivery. Shop Kirkish Furniture in Houghton today.
Hard Rock Bet Casino is here, Michigan. Roll with us.
There's a brand new welcome offer on Hard Rock Bet. And as always, what you see when you sign up is actually what you get. More bonus spins than ever. 500 bonus spins. That means 500 chances to win real cash. And if you're not up money after your first day playing slots, you get up to $1,000 back for another shot. So you can play again with a casino bonus on us. Roll with Michigan's newest casino app. For promos in the spotlight, no gimmicks.
Here's your WZMQ CBS This is Home Community Calendar. Download the WZMQ 19 app or visit WZMQ19.com for the latest news and weather, around the clock and on your schedule. 19 News is all about you. A world at your fingertips gives you the advantage. Scan this right now. Weather, local news, community events, amazing video. It's cool. It's all yours. It's free. And it's on demand. Do it. Download the app from 19 News. Now you know. Escanaba reporter Lily Simmons on WZMQ 19 News.
As we continue watching the snow and ice melt across the region, wanted to remind you that when we're dealing with snow and ice melt, standing water on roadways can often kind of hide the potholes that are kind of under the snow and ice, and also hydroplaning with standing water. So you definitely want to take it slow over the next couple of days. Slushy sidewalks and driveways. But then the big one, the ice jam flooding. As I mentioned, those ice chunks flowing downstream creating a problem. So again, we're going to watch it very carefully. So if you have the sump pumps, make sure they're working and they're in working order and everything is fine there. Temperatures into the 40s closer to Lake Superior tonight, 50 southward, and then tomorrow basically a repeat of today. We just mix in a few more clouds, warmer temperatures southward once you get away from the lake breeze. But rain chances do tick up, especially as we head into Friday afternoon and early Saturday. Then a few more showers arrive next week as temperatures come back into the 40s.
Dakota, thank you again. And finally tonight, the 2026 NFL Draft kicks off in Pittsburgh on Thursday, and a new tradition is on the horizon. The Heinz Company will award a lifetime supply of ketchup to the number 57 overall pick in the draft. The company is paying homage in its hometown of Pittsburgh by introducing Mr. 57. The Chicago Bears will have the 57th pick, so the lucky player will get a custom Mr. 57 jacket, free ketchup for life, and the chance to be a partner in future promotions. In addition, the Heinz Company is celebrating 157 years in business. That's all we have for tonight, everyone. We'll have more headlines coming your way tomorrow at 6/5 Central. See you then.
From now through April at Fox Nagani Chevrolet GMC, lease a 2026 Chevrolet Equinox 2 LT all-wheel drive for $400 a month for 36 months. Together, let's drive. Fox Nagani Chevrolet GMC. Experience the difference.
Get an 11% rebate on your next project when you shop at Menards. Quaker State Full Synthetic Motor Oil is engineered to give more